Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Meme Team podcast, where we dissect the marketing strategies behind viral cultural moments. I'm Sonia, and this week I'm welcoming back Yuri Molosov, partner at MA Family, who led PR campaigns for companies like JetBrains, Miro, and Flipper Zero. It's good to have you back. Welcome back, Yuri.
Thank you. Great to be here again.
Awesome. So I want to talk about this week and last week, pretty much since Project Hail Mary came out, that space is in right now. People kind of, there's the movie that came out, but the big thing happening is that Artemis 2 is launching to the moon this week, tomorrow, actually on
Hopefully,
Wednesday.
hopefully,
Yeah,
hopefully.
hopefully. True. I shouldn't assume. But I kind of want to talk about the brand case for optimism. People want the advancement of like human technology and human ingenuity. So Project Hail Mary opened March 20th, and this second weekend was one of the biggest in recent box office history. It reached 54.5 million and domestically in week two, which is only a 32% drop from the 80.5 million opening, which is higher than most movies that on their second week. It's already at 164 million domestic and 300 million global, making it Amazon MGM's biggest movie ever and Ryan Gosling's biggest lead role film to date. The film is relentlessly optimistic about space. You have the school teacher that goes up to, save the planet, save the sun, makes an alien friend named Rocky. And it's basically the opposite of doom and gloom. The critics love it, audiences love it, and it shows no signs of stopping. I'm actually going to go see it tomorrow. I'm super excited.
No, you still
um,
haven't. It's a great
no,
movie.
yeah, the perks of having children. You gotta kind of space things out a little bit more. But we're finally going tomorrow. We're going to the Chinese theater here in LA, which is the biggest IMAX screen. So I'm super excited about
I envy
that.
you.
Yeah. And then the other big thing is that, NASA is launching Artemis 2, the first crewed mission to the moon since 1972. Four astronauts will fly around the moon. I did see this on Twitter that a mom of like a space kid, is telling people it's not actually landing on the moon. It's just going around the moon. But the point is that it's still going to be very cool. People want to have this like excitement around, something because so many other things are sucking so much. And I think we're seeing it, I think for the first time in a really long time, space as like an adventure, right? As opposed to a complete threat, which is like you have, the alien invasion movies or like, asteroid horror. Um, so it's not a bleak metaphor for space. It's, one of the times that we're seeing space as an adventure, as like you're solving a problem, you're, bringing the best of humanity together, everybody together, right? To fix this problem. So Yuri, I know you've seen this. You saw the movie. Have you read the book? What do you think?
Yeah, I read the book. I saw the movie. I think the movie is great. I think I
Nice.
still prefer The Martian a little bit more, but they're both
Okay.
fantastic. And
Mm-hmm.
by the way, Andy Weir now has two books that's been turned into movies. He also has a third one that he wrote between them. Do you know how it's called?
Artemis. Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah, Artemis. That's funny. I didn't like that one very much. But they
Yeah, I
say
think
that
it
they're trying
has
to make it
lower
into
reviews. Yeah.
a TV show, right? Um,
I don't know actually, but yeah, I think it's like
yeah,
it
I
probably
saw
has
that.
slightly smaller like scores. But yeah, it's just
Hmm.
like I like how it rhymes. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, I liked a lot of what's been like happening around Hail Mary,
Hmm.
and it's just so wholesome and like positive. And Ryan Gosling said this a curious phrase that it's sort of like it's not the audience's job to save the
Hmm.
movies; it's the Hollywood's job to actually make great movies. And I
Hmm.
mean, it's definitely nice to sort of like hear people being rewarded for their efforts because it's
Hmm.
objectively a very cool movie, and you should all go and see it.
Yeah, the phrase that stuck out to me on his press tour was saying that he wanted to make a movie for his kids where he's talking about, optimism of like the future, right? Where it's like we'll all come together and we'll fix it instead of have things be horrible all the time, like there is a way for all of us to come together and create a better future. And I thought that, that rang, particularly true for me as well with like my kids, how I think about it's like, I want things to be better for them. And space is one of those things, right? Like we should be able to explore and like, be out there and, figure out what else is out there. Um, that was one thing, and then the other thing was a very popular account that posts, like, the IMAX, photos of, like, what it looks like to see the movie, and it was just very much, this whole everybody coming together to be very, like, anti-AI, like, creating these types of images and then showing how visual effects, can still be made by humans that are superior, to what, AI is creating, and just showing like the work behind it, which I thought was like really cool because it's like, everybody's talking about AI, right? I mean, every so often there's some like, tweet that goes viral about like, oh, the Matrix costs like $100 million to like make, but we made this same scene for like, $10 or whatever. And it's like, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. So the fact that like we saw those photos and then the team behind it started dropping like behind the scenes photos or like videos showing how they kind of put together all like the visual effects to see so we see it all come together. And I thought that was really cool because I really feel we're in at a time where it's like we want to see real craftsmanship and how it all kind of comes together a little bit more than we have in a while. And maybe this is just because we don't really get, behind the scenes content anymore with like, DVDs and stuff. I mean, I remember watching that growing up. Particularly remember like the Matrix one, kind of seeing like the 3D effects and everything come to life, and like Lord of the Rings, how all of that, all the practical effects were like made. But we don't really get to see that anymore. And I think last year when Ryan Coogler was talking about, the different screens for like Kodak video, everybody started realizing, yeah, actually, this is pretty cool. We should use this more as like the marketing that we're, using for to promote movies. And with a movie of this scale on something that like requires this much, visual effects, it's amazing to see. And I think this is also kind of a prelude to the other movies that we're getting this year with, the Odyssey from Christopher Nolan and Denis Villeneuve's Dune Part 3, which are obviously going to also be spectacles. And I think it's also bringing to the fore how much people actually enjoy going to the movies, and not just staying at home and watching Netflix.
Yeah, yeah, and like both of the movies that you mentioned, and obviously like Hail Mary, they're also sort of like filmed for IMAX essentially. And I've
Mhm,
had this idea that IMAX is basically a super brand because they're superimposing their own
mhm,
brand onto other brands, like movies, like
mhm,
directors
mhm.
everywhere. And it's sort of like these people are actually happy that they're doing this because IMAX is
Right.
a sign of quality. It's like, well, why
Mhm.
all of these like X accounts are posting these like photos? Oh, like look at these like the tallest screen on the world or so, because like this is when you actually notice a difference from like your 55-inch TV with Netflix.
Yeah. That's true, that's true. Yeah, no, I've seen kind of the rise of IMAX, a little bit more. I happen to live in one of the cities that has IMAX, and I guess I never really thought about because before that I lived in San Francisco, which also has it, and then New York, which has it. So I guess I'd never really thought about the fact that there are places in this country that don't have IMAX theaters that they can go to. But that's one of the things that IMAX has said they're trying to do this year is to build more IMAX theaters. So I do wonder how that is going to affect the rates of, people going to the movies. Because it's, that is, you're right. Like that's the starkest difference between seeing it on your TV at home and then going to the movie. I also think it has something to do with seeing it with a whole group of people that are just as excited as you are to like watch the movie, and then have those like conversations afterwards. We have such a dearth of community that like, if this is one thing that everybody's talking about, that ever elusive monoculture, right? It's like something that everybody can talk about and have an opinion about. And that's kind of been great because most of the commentary that I've seen about Project Hail Mary has all been positive, right? I haven't really seen too much negative stuff come out.